guys, and welcome to episode 55 here on the YouTube channel of youtube.com/ImprovGaming. The weekly games cast we bring you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I am Mr. I'm Wondering Himself, Pete, joined with my cohorts of the evening.
I said this stops. I said it stops.
First to my left, he's only the biggest Zelda fan in the world. Don't believe me? He has the tattoo of the Triforce on his right arm and the Master Sword in his pants. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jeremy Bird.
I'm still waiting for... He has the biggest Master Sword in the world. That's what I was waiting for, but you ruined it.
Master Sword is pretty big.
Yeah.
Quite big.
So just
And
letting
it's fully
them know.
powered up. Biggest Zelda fan.
Level 9,000.
It's above 9,000!
Biggest Zelda fan in the world, coming at you once again.
And my other guy,
Guy.
he only has the best ponytail in the business.
It's
It's
fabulous.
okay.
Fuck you.
Mr. Nicholas.
How's it going tonight, everybody?
And what I'm wondering this week,
What are you wondering, Pete?
it's very simple. What is the first thing you do when you're on vacation? You finally get to your destination. You're there. What do? Do you, if you're at a hotel, do you just lay on the bed and check out the bed? Do you put your luggage down and walk around the area? Do you, if it has a pool, do you just jump in and go onto a suit and go swimming? What is the first thing you tend to do?
First thing I do, and you can attest to this, is what I do every year at Evo when we get to the hotel room.
You spank Jeff's ass.
Not that. You don't tell him that. No, I jump on one bed, I jump face plant on the other, and then I'm like, perfect, beds are good, let's do this.
That is true.
You
Every
really?
time.
First year, I jumped when he was
Chris
there.
Benoit that.
Oh, goddamn. The first year, he was laying on the other bed, so I jumped off and I dropped an elbow on him. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I got you!
Ooh. What
Worth
do you
it?
like?
Yep.
Usually
Definitely worth it.
I'll bounce on the bed for a little bit and then turn on the television and see what channels are available.
So what you do at home?
Yeah, except I'm like browsing to see what channels are available. I'm not gonna actually watch television. I'm just checking to see what they have available.
Cable. Porn!
What I like to do is walk in, drop my luggage, look around, sniff the air, rub my arms together 3 times, and then if there's a balcony, I like to go out to the balcony, look out.
Jay, is this true?
Yeah.
Does he rub his arms 3 times?
He does. It's actually surprising. He gets him, he's just like...
And then I go out if there's a balcony, or I'll rest on the bed for a couple minutes. And then recently I've been going to Jay. You want to go walk? And then we would go walk.
No, you don't say walk. First year you said walk, and then you want to go explore. I'm like, that's my line. Let's go.
Explore. But if you didn't know, this is the greatest video games gamecast in all of Mushroom Kingdom, in all of Albion, and all of the shitty, not so shitty, maybe okay, maybe not okay, we'll find out in 2017, Assassin's Creed franchise. We are 3 friends who bring you Gamescast every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We honor you with Let's Plays every Tuesday and every Thursday. Check out the Uncharted Let's Plays going up, getting ready for Uncharted 4: Thief's End. We also bring you the biggest news in gaming, provided by myself and Mr. Jeremy Bird, when things drop. You can also check it out on a console near you. Near you. We're in the old-timey London. Console near you, which drops every Sunday here on the channel. We also do live streams from time to time. Mostly, sometimes me and Nick. It's been recently me and Nick a lot.
No, we play a lot, but we don't play streaming.
Yeah, because, they don't want me to kick your ass every single week.
Except you don't.
Yeah. What happened last week?
That was it. That was just last week.
My Cammy.
It was just last
and the week before.
The week before I devastated you. What are you talking about?
And then the week before that.
And the week before that, it was a tie.
No, it wasn't a tie.
I got you. You had me down in no health. You had full health, and I punched you once.
That sounds good to you. Please subscribe to the channel, like this video, comment. Let me know what your favorite vacation thing to do is when you get there. And of course, share us with all your beautiful friends.
The week before last is when I had no health in the bar and I still whooped your ass.
I remember the one thing where you blamed your thumb because it was bandaged.
Yeah, because I cut my thumb.
I did my thumb. Now, on to the topic at hand.
I was gonna say before that, Thursday I got a special Let's Play going up. Check it out.
Sounds good.
You guys know what it was if you've done the previews, but
I watched it. It was quite entertaining.
thank you.
Part 2.
Thank you.
That's a twofer on Thursday.
Yep.
Uncharted 2. Uncharted 3. Monk
Oh, we're
Thief.
doubling up. Okay.
And his little special surprise with his cohorts.
My 2 little minions.
Now, back to the topic at hand. Old games to new games. Now, I bring this up because I recently completed Ratchet & Clank. The reboot, the remastered, whatever you want to call it. But it's more of a reboot. Now, it was surprising to me is because when I was playing it, I was expecting the old game with a couple of added quirks in there, you know, and stuff like that. And I'm going through, playing, and then I get to the end with Nefarious. And in the original Ratchet & Clank, it was not Nefarious, it was Drake,
Yeah, it was Drek.
who was the final boss. So I'm like, oh, this is cool. I never knew there was a Nefarious battle that they added. That's cool. Beat Nefarious, credits roll. Now, I wasn't disappointed, don't get me wrong.
Were you like really rage quitting right then?
I was not disappointed. I was just like, this is something I never expected. I expected to have that final encounter with a boss that I quite remember from the series.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yes, Nefarious is the main villain of the Ratchet & Clank series. There's no doubt about that. But I expected them to have something with Drek, the main villain of the game, instead of when he got turned into a sheep, and that was it. That's why I'm like, that seems a little weird, but I feel like he'll come back, and that was it. He was a sheep, and so old games to new games. That's the topic at hand. So how do we feel about it? I mean, I like the new version of Ratchet & Clank, but I still have always loved the old. You know? Obviously, they're two different things, but in this modern era, and something different to behold. So with this being completely new, like a Pixar movie, all these different weapons, all these different attributes, does the new outweigh the old? For me. So what are your thoughts?
Well, I guess that's the question that we're posing to you in this episode, because really, out of the three of us, you're the only one that's been able to experience something that has been rebooted for the next generation.
I have a couple of games.
Do you?
Legends of Link Between Worlds. It's a build on Link to the Past, but it's like done with the new mechanics and everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was like I probably said this before, but I remember playing Link Between Worlds, and I'm going through it, and then like it kind of has like the same thing. You go to the castle, you go to the sanctuary, and then you're supposed to go to the Eastern Palace, and all of a sudden I'm just like, I can't get to the Eastern Palace because they changed the landscape format, and I'm like, how do I get across? How do I get across? I'm sitting there, I'm trying to figure out. I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to go into the wall, because you use the new painting thing where you can go into the wall and sneak around stuff. There was that. There's also where you get the Pegasus boots. Like, after I beat the Eastern Palace, I was like, where the fuck are my Pegasus boots? I'm supposed to get them from Shashamalava, however you pronounce the guy's name. I'm like, where are my Pegasus boots? And then I would go back to Kakariko Village, and there's this little guy who's running around. He's really, really fast. And I'm like, he's got my Pegasus boots. How do I catch him? And I've tried everything, and I'm like, So I go into the wall, I go behind him, I pop out of it, and I tackle him, and all of a sudden he's like, okay, you got me, here, don't, just leave me alone. He gives me the Pegasus boots, and I'm like, that's a little change. Now I gotta remember that when I play the game again, but nice little change.
So how do you feel about that, though?
I like it, because they improved on the original game. I love Link to the Past to death, but I really, really do enjoy Link Between Worlds. I did enjoy the final boss battle with Gen and Yuga, I can't remember what I forget what the final boss's name is. It's Yudi, something like that. But what they do is basically he summons Ganon and they form into this hybrid of the two, and it's like, okay, it's the same boss battle. Is he gonna bring out the bats and spin the staff around? No, it's a totally different boss battle.
You had to go into the walls and take them out that way. I remember that.
Yeah, it's just I loved it. I'm like, okay, it's pseudo Ganon, but it still was a satisfying way to end the game.
But so, being that it was new to old, you did not mind the new at all.
No, I welcomed it because it was funny because I didn't even know about the game coming out, and then at my old job, my friend's like, yeah, there's a new Zelda game. I'm like, okay, what system, like 3DS? And I'm just looked it up online, and I'm like, ooh. I'm like, that's different, and I definitely like what I'm seeing.
Well, The only thing that I can really talk on was DMC. When they redid Devil May Cry as DMC, and it was a whole reboot thing that they were doing, trying to reinvent the character, make him appeal to a new audience, I guess.
Okay.
And they kind of took everything about Dante away from Dante. Kind of everything that made him who he was, besides the arrogance. Like, he still had the arrogance, but everything else, like kind of his origin and everything,
his hair
was complete. His hair, his style, it was just all redone. And it was just like, well, this isn't Dante then. What? You know, it was really confusing because here you have Dante being the son of a demon who impregnated a human host, right? Whereas in DMC, he was the love child of a demon who made love to an angel. So he was half angel and half demon. And it was just like, wait, why? Why is that? Why is that a thing now? Suddenly out of nowhere, like, it was like reinventing the entire story, but not really giving any meaning to that story. Like, Trish wasn't an angel. Trish was a devil, and they kind of wanted to bring this whole Romeo Juliet thing into his past, and it just didn't work for me.
So you prefer the old?
I prefer the old because as tacky as the old stuff was, it was overtly tacky, and it was just it was like a cult classic. Like, it's so bad that it was good. You know, like one of those terrible movies that are so bad that you watch it over and over and over again because you want to see how bad it could get. Like, Devil May Cry wasn't a bad game, but the story in it was so cheesy and bad that I was like, this is awesome.
That's why we love it.
That's why we loved it. The gameplay itself was phenomenal. DMC had just strange... It was like they took what they learned in Devil May Cry 4, which nobody liked, and people liked it, but people didn't appreciate.
It had a backlash.
Yeah, it had a backlash to it.
You want Dante? Who's fucking Nero?
Yeah, people backlashed against Devil May Cry 4, and they took those aspects of Devil May Cry 4 and put it in Devil May Cry and DMC. I should call it. It's DMC Devil May Cry. And it was like, I don't know why you're doing this. I don't understand, and I couldn't get to wrap my head around why they would reinvent the character that much. Because to me, a reboot isn't like, I'm going to change the entire thing about this character. A reboot is more like, I'm going to change the situation that this character is in and show you different aspects of his personality. You know, not I'm going to reinvent the character. Like, Punisher is always Punisher. Spider-Man is always Spider-Man. You know, like, those characters are always those characters. When you reboot them, they're always going to be those characters.
Yeah, but when Ratchet and Clank... The old version, Ratchet and Clank did not like each other. They were not the best of friends.
Ratchet was a dick in that game.
And the new one that just came out, you know, they become friends, you know, and it adds to that nice friendship, and it grows throughout the game that you see.
But again, like I'm saying, like, the two characters are still those two characters. Like, Ratchet's past isn't different, and Clank's past isn't different. It's just, instead of them being enemies or hating each other, they decide to be friends. They changed one aspect of them that kind of, like, you know, made it more friendly, you know, instead of there being this tension. Because I could understand why they would do that in the beginning when they first started. They'd be like, oh, we could take this either way. It can be fun and child friendly depending on our audience, or we could make like a whole treachery thing go on depending on who our audience is. But since it was a fun loving game, they're like, we kind of made a huge mistake in making these guys enemies.
Yeah, but
or frenemies, I should say.
The other example I have is it actually isn't a Nintendo game for once. It's Mega Man Maverick Hunter X for the PlayStation Portable.
Yes.
Holy shit! What a way to take a Nintendo game, overhaul it, and probably blow the original game out of the water.
That was a good experience.
Why? Vile.
Yeah?
Play as Vile. That was the big thing. I'm playing the game. It's the exact same pattern. You fight these different bosses. He goes this. They gave it a full intro. They gave it cutscenes. They improved on the graphics and everything. And then I beat the game, and it was like, try hard mode. I beat it on hard mode, and all of a sudden it's like, you've unlocked Vile mode, where you can actually play as the antagonist for the game. And it's so freaking cool. You get to play as one of the best bosses in Mega Man X history.
Oh, yeah?
It's so, because literally he's such a badass. Like, literally, he's got shoulder missiles, he has missiles in his knee, he's got all these different weapons, and literally you get different abilities from defeating different Mavericks. He goes his own story. It's like you can go X's path and save the future, or you go Vile's path, you destroy everything in the way. You destroy all the Mavericks. You defeat Sigma, and then X and Zero take you down at the end. You can beat them in the game, but then automatically you lose. Like, it's just all of a sudden they team up, and all of a sudden you just you die at the end of the game. But I'm just like, what a way to take a game that is like classic for the Super Nintendo era, bring it into the PSP era, and just blow the game out of the water.
Yeah. Wasn't that the same one that had the Oh no, I'm thinking of a different one. I'm thinking of, there was a Mega Man game where you could create your own levels.
That was Mega Man Power Up.
That was Mega Man Power Up.
They actually had 2 separate games, and they put them in a bundle pack. So basically, Power Up it's kind of like the chibi Mega Man things. They shrank them down, they made them cutesy.
Yeah.
They gave a couple original bosses and they did the original game. They overhauled it for that style, and then they actually gave like a level creator option.
Yeah.
For it.
Okay. All right. I did like Mega Man Maverick Hunters X. That was fucking awesome.
I wish they actually would go back and redo the other 2 games. That's never gonna happen. It's just like that game did. I don't know if it like I got the game years after it came out because I found out through a YouTube review, and I'm like, I want to play that, and my friend still has it. I gotta get it back, but like I was always hoping that they would do X2 and 3 over.
Yeah.
Just literally just overhaul the game.
I also have another example, being in GTA 5. Now, GTA 5 came out for the 360 and PS3 at the tail end of their cycle. And then they were re-releasing it for the PS4 and Xbox One.
Mm-hmm.
But I said, cool, what are you going to give me that's different? And they came with a first-person mode.
Ooh.
Which was cool, because on the guns they would have little sayings and everything. And it added to it. So when you go from old to new, if the old nostalgia is there, but they add on to it, new is always better. In a weird way. Because adding that first person, adding that familiarity with Ratchet and Clank, with being Nefarious being the top heel, and making sense why in the original Ratchet and Clank's Drac just made one appearance, and then for the rest of the series it was basically Nefarious every single game, you know? To have that and be able to have that old style with that old story with a twist and those old weapons and old planets and all that, but have that new little pinch of lime, little zest of lemon. You like that?
No, I don't.
I
knew you were doing that, waiting for me to like respond
It's
to
a
it. So
whisper
I
of
laughed.
cinnamon.
With a little wisp of cinnamon, thank you. But, you know, and it shows that when I was playing Grand Theft Auto on PlayStation 4 and having that first person mode, I was like, wow, this is completely different, you know? This is exactly like what I remember and then some, you know? And then...
See, but so to me, when you're comparing old to new, it's like Grand Theft Auto 5 coming to the PlayStation 4 wasn't old to new. That was just...
That's like with the Neo. The PlayStation 4 is the old compared to the PlayStation 4.5 PlayStation Neo.
Yeah, I wouldn't
it's
say
the
that.
old.
High definition. It's like the definitive edition of Last of Us. Like, is that new?
It's better,
No, it's just more definitive.
but it's a better version.
No, it's not. It's just better graphics.
Yes, which is a better version of the game.
No.
Dude, graphics don't make a full game.
It's a
We've been over
console. The console is what gives you the graphics. Right? Like, that's why you get the better console. So basically, they were just like, hey, let's put this on a PlayStation 4 disc, and then it'll just automatically do better graphics.
Yeah, but it added that first-person mode. It added different variables. It's not like
one variable. First person mode.
So it's nothing.
One
have
variable.
you? Okay. Have
The
you
PC
played?
people already had it.
Huh?
No, I don't see going from one console generation to the next as definitive. Or as a definitive leap in comparing the old to the new. When you play
So
Devil May
that's
Cry...
like Devil May Cry. 4 was on 360 and PlayStation 3.
Yes, but Devil May Cry 1 compared to DMC, which was the comparison that I was making, is 2-3 console generations apart. That's the comparison. I'm sorry. Look back at the video. That was the comparison I was making, was Devil May Cry versus DMC.
Well, when you look at
I said that
the
they
Mind
drew
Cave
upon-
conspiracy to Quantum Break, you know, it makes sense.
But yeah. When you're like Psyops, the Mind Gate conspiracy, and Quantum Break are essentially the same game, and seeing it on a new platform, it felt good.
Yeah, because here's the thing: the old Ratchet and Clank had great weapons, but now, and even Insomniac has said this, with the weapons they have in the reboot type PlayStation 4 when they just released, they couldn't have some of these weapons in the PlayStation 2. There's a gun called the Pixelator.
Yeah, they couldn't do
which turned them into 8-bit. You know, they couldn't do that back in the day. So to have that different dynamic and it be one of the best guns in the game, where I was depending on that and the bouncer my whole time, no other gun existed in that game. But it's just, I feel like old to new games, you know, if you have that old style and you add to the new is always better.
I don't know about that.
Well, I was gonna ask, what about
I can't
like
agree with that.
old games?
It's not your opinion. It's
No,
the
it's
fans.
not. It's not.
Let us know.
Actually, we're sharing our opinions with the fans.
Yeah, and I want them to know ours.
I just don't agree with
He's
that.
always right.
You know what? I don't agree with your face.
Well,
But the fans do.
My question was, what about like old games to new prequels?
How do you mean?
Because so you have the original Metroid game. They put out Metroid Zero Mission, combined with Metroid Zero Mission, which was basically a retelling. Oh, there's an example. Metroid Zero Mission to the original Metroid. It improved on it. Definitely play that. It's a Game Boy Advance game. You can get it on the Nintendo eShop. It's very inexpensive. Good game. I was trying to talk about the original Metroid game to Other M.
Okay.
Because
Other M was a 3D representation of the original Metroid game, wasn't it?
Before. It's literally is how Samus. It's the story of Samus's past and her whole thing with Ridley and then meeting the space pirates.
Which game was the 3D version of the original Metroid? There was a game that came out that was it was literally the 3D version of the original Metroid.
The only one I know is Zero Mission, which was a Game Boy Advance game.
Could it be Other M, you're thinking? I've never played the Metroid.
I think Other M could be, but the thing is, I wasn't a fan of Other M. It was just...
Nobody was a fan of it.
It's only because they took the sound protagonist that was Samus Aran and they made her a whiny little crybaby bitch.
We love our women.
Which brings us back to Halo.
I'm going to look this up. I want to find out if it is the prequel version.
My big problem with Halo 4 was that the Chief talked too much. He was just blah, 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 blah. Shut the fuck up.
That's what we said.
That was my biggest problem with Halo 4. Shut the fuck up, John. I just wish Cortana was like, would you just shut the fuck up for 5 minutes? You're not supposed to talk this much. See? He agreed.
I feel the fear. Ridley's coming. Shut up, Samus.
No, but that was my biggest problem with Halo 4. I liked Halo 4, don't get me wrong. I did.
There's no Halo 3.
I had fun with Halo 4, but my biggest thing...
I was completely wrong. Metroid M is set between Super Metroid and Fusion, null and void. Never mind, take that out. Oops.
Oh.
I thought it was.
My biggest problem with Halo 4 was that he was just talking too much. But I still like the game. Again, that was my biggest problem, which means that the game is good because I still played the game. I still beat the game.
We have Ninja Gaiden. On
Ninja
the original
Gaiden.
NES.
Yes.
And then we have Ninja Gaiden on
the Xbox.
I think it out-trumps the original by far.
Do you think it out-trumps the original?
Well,
do you think it out-trumps the original, sir?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Point, game, set, match. Thank you guys for watching this episode of Improv Gaming here on the Gamescast.
Whatever. If you want to believe that that's a point, set, game, match, then okay, fine.
No, but it took an old formula with the classic 8-bit and brought it to the modern day.
It didn't. There was nothing about Ninja Gaiden that reminded you of the original Ninja Gaiden. Nothing about it on the Xbox reminded you of the original. Absolutely not.
Absolutely.
Absolutely not.
Wait.
Absolutely.
Who was the final boss?
Could you jump off of the guys' heads in the NES game?
No. Could you jump in the game?
All the dynamics of Ninja Gaiden on the Xbox are just completely different than the dynamics. Now, if you couldn't jump on the original on Ninja Gaiden and you had to actually stay sedentary and destroy your enemies in a straight path, or not even in a straight path, but like a first-person shooter kind of fucking feeling, then it might have felt more like the original, and they improved, but they fucking drastically changed the game in order for it to be a ninja game.
Who was the final boss in Metroid? In Ninja Gaiden?
I don't remember.
God damn it, that was my point. Zeus speaks blah blah blah. Wrong!
It has elements of the original Ninja Gaiden, whether you think so or not.
What elements? Throwing knives.
Using your katana sword.
But you didn't have to use a katana sword.
Jumping.
You didn't have to use the katana sword. You didn't
swinging
have. You didn't have
from
to
the
use,
bars.
From what bars? From like hanging bars like that.
Yes.
You didn't have to use the katana sword. You didn't have to use the katana sword.
It was optional.
It was optional. It wasn't optional in the original.
Let us know what you thought about Ninja Gaiden. A little bit of housekeeping. Then Nick has a nice little announcement. Make sure you check out all of the Uncharted Let's Plays that are up right now. Getting ready for Uncharted 4: A Thief's End, coming out May 10th. Expect a Let's Play of Uncharted 4: A Thief's End on May 10th.
Who makes Uncharted 4? It was Naughty Dog, right?
Naughty Dog.
Yeah, if Naughty Dog doesn't put up a copyright infringement on us, then...
Oh, Naughty Dog, by the way, that little spoiler that showed up on your PlayStation Facebook page, make it happen.
I don't want to know.
I don't want to know
you
either.
dare tell me.
You said it. I posted it on our Facebook, and you were like, told you, saw it coming. The Return of the Bandicoot.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but we knew that.
I knew
Make it happen.
We knew that when he came.
I knew that. No, when he came out, I said it a week before he came out with that shirt on. And you're like, no, they're not going to do a crash. Whatever. And you're like, no, they're not going to do a crash. They're not going to do a crash. And I was like, yeah, they are. The guy fucking advertised it. No, they're not. No.
I stand by it. You don't think there's going to be a freaking single player in the new Call of Duty game?
There isn't. Dude, it's called Infinite Warfare. The only way for that to happen is if it's always online.
You ever play Bioshock Infinite? Had a single player.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bioshock Infinite? You mean the skies are infinite terrain?
But here's the thing. What was Bioshock originally? A one-player.
Yeah, and so was Call of Duty.
No, it wasn't.
Call of Duty was originally a one-player game. Yeah.
Boom.
That's how it started. Call of Duty was back in World War I, I believe. I thought it was World War One.
No, they did one world, but it started.
It started in World War Two. Yeah, and it was
when they were crazy with that.
What's the word? What's the kind of warfare that they were doing in World War II?
Latrine? Not
No, there's a fucking phrase for it. I think it starts with a T.
Trench warfare.
Trench warfare.
Yeah.
Call of Duty started off as a trench warfare game.
Okay,
so
fair enough.
You hid behind things.
Stupid hat.
Well, thank you guys for watching this episode. Check out, like I said, all the Let's Plays, the Uncharted, the Rockstar Let's Plays that are coming. Bought a couple PlayStation Classics, so I'm going to be doing Let's Plays on them soon. One of my favorite games of all time, Bully. So you're going to be a Let's Play of that mid-May.
I have something special.
And Vice City, as do you. But
No, something different.
Oh, my goodness, I can't wait. But Nick, I believe you have an announcement for the people.
I do have an announcement for the people. People, if you listen to me very closely, just lean in. Just ever so tenderly. We have to announce that starting immediately, Improv Gaming is now on Patreon. Yes. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We have made it. We are on Patreon.
Thank you, and give us your money.
We have. Don't pay attention to Jeremy. All right, just don't. All right.
He didn't know the right Metroid game anyway.
Shut up.
This is not to say that you will be
Crash Bandicoot game.
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, John. This is not to say that
you talk too much, John. God, now I know where Nick gets it from.
This is not to say that we will be charging for our episodes, all right? Again, our episodes on YouTube will remain free. They will always be free. All that we're asking is that you go over to our Patreon page, you support us, you show us some love over there. We have little goodies here and there for our Patreon, for our patrons over on Patreon.
Patriarchs.
So be sure to check that out. And if you can't if you can't be a patron on Patreon, always share our videos, subscribe to the video, of course, but share them with your friends because that helps us out just as much.
Shut up, Samus.
That's all you need to know.
Yep.
And the only left thing we have to say...
The only left thing we have to say...
Yes, the only left thing we have to say is...
Game on. There we go.
We're good?
I don't think so. I think. Pete, sit right. Sit right.
Sit up, you jackass.